So Ryan, I wanted to go over this with you. We talked about a lot of this stuff the other day, but just to kind of rehash it a little bit and review, you can see the video. Remember, the big issue we're working on, okay, is the stability on the front side as we go into trunk rotation. Okay, so all that energy moving forward, the hips move that way. We want it to stop right on that front hip, allow the front hip to tightly rotate, or our trunk to rotate tightly around that axis. And what we see with you, we get to that point, and instead of stopping, we continue to drift through. Okay, so we know if that's where the problem is, right here, we know that the issue probably is being caused back here somewhere. So if we go back and look, what we see is coming down out of leg kick, okay, we see the angle from hip to knee to ankle, and now we're going to see, instead of being stable on this back knee, we're going to see as we start striding out, we see that back knee collapsing, okay, which all that's doing is putting us in a position where the weight cannot transfer to that front hip. The weight is getting stuck back here on this hip. Okay, we see evidence of that when we look at your hip line. Okay, if we're watching our hips move down the mound, okay, what we see with you about right here is your hips are going to stop the downward slope and pop back up. We're moving down the mound, down the mound, down the mound. We get to about right here, and my hips are going to drive back uphill, okay, which is a byproduct of you trying to push off of the mound, but you're in an awkward position. Once that knee rolls under us there, and then you try to push, now you're pushing yourself uphill. If we're in a position where the knee is still stable and our hips continue to move down the mound, okay, now we have the strength, we have the ability to push out of the ground and open the back hip. Okay, the back hip causes the hips to open. When we go to a front hip dominant, see the front hip now pulling us, we get to this point, then we try to push. The only thing that can happen is we're launching ourselves up, okay, and again the weight gets stuck back here. So once we get into landing, all that weight and energy that got stuck back here has to transfer forward. In order for it to transfer forward, it continues to push our body right through that stopping point. So basically we're coming to a stop sign and we're running right through it. Okay, and all that's doing is slowing our ability, it's slowing our rotational forces down. Again, the rotational forces of the trunk are going to speed up the rotation of the shoulder, thus throwing the ball faster. It's also going to help with the consistency of the curveball if we can rotate our trunk on a more consistent pattern. Okay, so the problem again is front side there, or actually that's the symptom. The problem occurs in the back side. And what we want to make sure we're doing is that hip cheat, where we get the hips in, okay, we get the hips inside, but the entire femur needs to be torquing outward, okay, needs to be torquing outward that way. That's what I was trying to do. Okay, so that we're able to move down the mound and then use the backside energy from that point to fire the hips open and not allow our front side to pull us open. So hopefully that makes a little sense. I'll show you a video. I put you with David Price. I'll send that separately, but I want to show you an example from behind of what's occurring when we do this. So I'll send that one as well.